Well, it's magic time again. Well, look at you in your little poodle apron.
I decided I wanted an apron on because I'm already getting flour all over myself.
Well, you look like you're getting a little paunchy there, too, the way that thing is.
Perhaps I shouldn't have it up. Get it under my roll. Taping a new show today, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, get out of town.
I'm sorry, I just had to.
That's ridiculous.
I saw it. Look at this. I mean, is this?
Please.
Are they a little subtle around here these days? Can you see Hammerstrom? Yeah, look at that. Do not put glass bottles in the freezer. What's that all
we never
about?
do that.
What's that all
We are
about?
not guilty
Where
of
are
that.
they so huffy about it?
Oh, there's.
Because one broke.
Oh, because one broke.
Oh.
Jim said.
I had a bottle of non-alcoholic wine froze and broke in my refrigerator, not even in the freezer.
Get you a good deal on some pickles.
Oh, get back in there with those things. Good grief. What are we doing today? Let's get the witch in
I'm
here.
going home. I don't have. Oh, maybe I won't. The witch is here.
And she's not coming back.
Take your time, Mr. Johnson.
Dear gentlemen, do any of the other folks who work on your show cook at all? One might imagine that they are probably turned off by your shenanigans. Are we right? Yours truly, Clara Bell of Snively, Utah.
Well, I guess. What's it mean?
Well, Doris, you know, is over in the foreign land.
She is in
She and Harold are in Paris,
Paris, France. I
They
tell
are.
you, we got to start working on the other side of the cameras. I
She'll,
think they're going
and
places.
there's no telling what she'll bring back. Because,
Yeah,
you know, Doris is very brassy. She'll ask for anything. She's liable to ask for a piece of the Eiffel Tower.
Well, who knows?
And so she'll be back with us next time. But
But we have a secret person
Yes, we
coming
do.
in later on. And we can't tell you who it is.
but
I'm doing chicken gumbo.
Well, I'm doing some kind of sweet potato mess.
This is called the day before payday chicken gumbo.
Oh, so
Sit
you
in-
got to run it cheap.
Sent in by Jacqueline Marie Sandol of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the first thing I got to do, and I'm not doing very much,
All right.
so I hope your recipe takes up a little time.
No, mine's real short.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. We'll be doing a little dance and fandango here after a while. We'll have to run some kind of movie trailers or something.
Well, I brought some extra material.
Is this thing getting hot? I got to take some olive oil and coat the bottom of this pan. A little bit more, I think. I'm going to make a roux.
All right.
All right? Which is
You'll
sort of
roux
a paste.
the day. Right.
Sort of a paste, but I got to heat it up real good. You don't want to put your flour in there until it starts smoking a little bit.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, let me do something over here. This recipe is for sweet potato casserole sent in by Tipsy of Bluefield, West Virginia.
Tipsy.
That's what they put on the letter, Tipsy. And if you lived in Bluefield,
A couple of jokes come to mind, but I'll keep them to
No, we
myself.
don't want to start doing West Virginia jokes here on the Virginia show. You start with 2 16-ounce cans of sweet potatoes. Now, at the time of the year, which is the spring, when we're taping these shows, you can't find canned sweet potatoes in the grocery store. I went to the biggest one in the whole area, and sure enough, they only had one kind of sweet potatoes, and it was yams. And you start by putting them down, and the cans, incidentally, are 15 ounces, not 16 ounces naturally. And you put them down into the...
We get a lot of that, don't we?
Yep, into a casserole. And, this is another one of those recipes that you can do it right out of your pantry if you've got stuff like this saved.
I have done some fine rice and brought along with it. This is the boil and bag rice, the best stuff ever invented, besides gasoline maybe. And I love it. And I fixed this yesterday because at the end of this recipe it says if you have some leftover rice, you may want to either serve it on it or throw that in there too. So we'll just throw that in there is what we'll do. I boiled this up yesterday afternoon for us, fresh.
And now I'm going to put in a cup of honey. And I had to get this kind, came in a bear. Oh, and it's been sealed.
For your protection.
I don't know. I don't think.
No, you'll never get it open with your bare fingernails. It takes a claw hammer to open these things. Well, that's amazing. Just amazing.
And don't forget it. All right, this is a cup of honey. And Larry, if you need to do something, just...
No, not really. You know, I'm thinking about going home.
Yeah, it's funny.
You know,
I
my
heard some of
recipe
them
is so short that my recipe is so short that I just kept my car running. It's running out on the lot right now. I'm waiting for this oil to heat up a little bit, and this is one of our slow stove days.
Is it on?
It's plugged in. It's, you know, there's a big old wire going back through the studio, so I think it's on. Now, you got to sift, and it's very important that you sift. Yeah, it's getting there. All right, you got to sift a little flour into this. Oh, that's perfect. Well, now I have besmirched the good name of this fine stove, and it's working just beautifully. Just beautifully. And what we're going to do is brown this. Brown it real well. And that's going to take a while.
Yeah.
I don't know how much to put in, do you?
Yeah, I'd put in a little more.
Yeah, that's not enough, is it?
Well, that's a cute little sifter.
That's Tootsie's old sifter. I inherited that. God rest her soul. She left me that. It's the only thing she left me. Just a joke. Just a joke.
How terrible.
Terrible.
She's rolled over in the grave again. Oh.
No, if she did that every time I said something untoward, she'd be twirling all the time, 24 hours a day.
Well, I expect she is.
Listen, if she raised me and made it through,
Your other aunt won't even speak to you now.
Well, anyway.
Just treated Treva so bad.
Yeah. You got to kind of keep this stuff moving around. And what you make this thicker than a you know these dentures. I don't know what.
I know they're not good.
I got those ones you buy from television. You know, the doctor that comes on. I don't have dentures. I really don't have dentures. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is a roux is much thicker than a gravy.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, at least.
It's the basis for the gravy.
The basis for the gravy. That's right.
Well, could I borrow your measuring cup?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lair,
What?
Your highlights are getting right high on
Are
your
they
head.
sticking up?
No.
Well, don't get a close-up. Don't get a close-up, please.
I just think that maybe the
They
roots
look
are beginning to show.
out of control, aren't they? Reminds me of another friend of ours. We won't mention any names on the air.
No, we get in trouble.
We get in big trouble. All this is turning beautifully brown. Beautifully brown. And while that is browning, I'm going to open up some smoked sausage. You know, down in New Orleans, one of my favorite cities in the whole world, and absolutely the best city to eat in anywhere, down in New Orleans when they make a gumbo or something like this, they use something called andouille sausage, which is a very special sausage. I couldn't find any of that at that low-down grocery store that I shop at. You're lucky if they even have any kind of such things. Does this need to be thicker, do you think?
Yeah.
I think it does, too. I'm having a little problems with my roux, folks. I'm afraid I'm...
There you go. That'll do it.
Yeah, that ought to do it. Oh, look.
Well, I'm sprinkling a cup of coconut over my sweet
I'm
potatoes.
just thinking of putting some bacon in there and just making a gravy and eating it over biscuits. It'd be a lot simpler in this recipe. You got to watch that pretty carefully. This is a very hot stove right now. So anyway, I'm going to chop up some
But you want to make sure that the flour gets
cooked or it'll taste real floury.
It'll have a bad taste to it.
So I'm just going to chop up some, I have some sausage here. What cut off?
It did get kind of quiet.
So noisy there for a while. And don't forget, of course, we have a special guest coming in, a secret guest coming in here very shortly. It's about to wear me out. I haven't done anything. Now, you're supposed to also chop up about 2 pounds worth of chicken. And Hammerstrom is cracking his gun. It's nice. And because we do this show in real time with no stops or edits, it requires 45 minutes cooking time. So I went on ahead yesterday. Where is it? I virtually can't. There it is. I went on ahead and pre-cooked the chicken. So all I have to do is chop it and throw it in there today. I think that I'm probably going to have to take that off of there.
I think your roux is done.
I think it is right where it needs to be, and I'm going to get it over there until I get finished with my chopping and everything. Isn't that pretty?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a lot of sausage.
Well, it is right smart. Perhaps I shouldn't have put all of it in there. I was talking. I'll just take this little piece home for the children. Okay, now also have to, what?
It was supposed to be a pound.
How much was that?
It looked at least like 5 to me. I don't know.
Large
I'm
onion
just kidding.
goes.
All right, well,
Large onion goes
now I've added a cup of coconut. Now I'm going to put in a cup of pecan pieces sprinkled in here. Here's the cup if you need them.
Thank you. I'm chopping an onion at this point.
And
This is
finally,
the chopping part of the show. It's always boring.
I need a cup of pineapple, crushed, and I got crushed. I had trouble with the pineapple shelf several times lately.
And I'm also going to chop up this chicken breast. This is skinless, boneless, everythingless, chicken
Tasteless.
breast. Tasteless, gumless. And I'm going to chop that up to put it in there. Normally you would cook this chicken in there, and the juices from the chicken would be a part of the sort of the gumbo stock. But as I say, I sort of had to prepare this one a little bit in advance. So I went on ahead and did it this way. And we'll be assembling all of this momentarily. But I just have some chopping that needs to be done first.
Right. Well, I've got my pineapple in, and
Well, it's not a very complicated recipe, John.
no, it's real easy to put together.
Even you can do it.
We'll see if it's any good. I believe I should have drained the sweet potatoes, but it won't make that much difference.
Well, yeah, I think I would have.
But you just mix it all up real pretty and nice. And you have to bake it until everything is heated through, and I'm going to do it in the micrometer oven.
Huh.
Oh, if I can lift it.
Well, while he's doing that, I'm going to put this roux back on the stove, and I'm going to add the secret ingredient, which is a can of beer.
What'd you say?
A can of beer. And 5 cups of water. Give or take a few cups. Put that in there also.
What kind of beer did you use?
I don't know.
Just
why.
regular?
Just, yeah, regular old beer. Yeah, just some old stuff I had laying around that nobody wanted. And
Well,
we're
I
going to
think
start adding all this stuff
While
in.
you're doing that, why don't I give my recipe?
Okay, why don't
All right, the sweet potato casserole from Tipsy and Bluefield. You need 2 16-ounce cans of sweet potatoes, a cup of honey, a cup of pecans chopped, a cup of grated coconut, and a cup of crushed pineapple. You mix it all together and heat it until it's thoroughly warmed all the way through, and that's my recipe for today.
You know, I don't think this pan's big enough. I think I've got too much food in here. I'll never be able to move it around. Now, we got to add to that a little bit of garlic. How much? Right smart.
Not
Really.
Yeah.
Chopped onion, a large clove of garlic. 1 for Mama. And also a little
fresh
cayenne
hot
pepper. And we're also going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper and a fresh hot. Oops. Greatest of plenty on that. Burn your lips off on that one. Well, it's a much bigger thing than it's supposed to be, so I don't think anyone's going to, like, die or anything. You want to read my recipe?
Yeah, let me read Larry's recipe. The day before payday chicken gumbo, 1½ cup sifted flour, olive oil for the roux, and then for the gumbo, a large onion chopped fine.
Sure, I'm glad I bought this big pan.
Large clove of garlic chopped fine, a can of beer, 5 cups of water, salt to taste, 1 fresh hot pepper, 1 pound sausage cut up in 1/4-inch slices, 1 or 2 pounds of chicken cut up, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper.
I brought the peppers in pre-chopped because I didn't want to mess with them today.
Well, that's perfectly all right.
Go
Just
ahead.
do what you want to.
Chop on those a little bit.
Well, while you're doing that, let's run the Cook sisters in here.
All right. Fine with me. What are they going to talk about today? Do we know?
Who knows?
Never know.
They were whispering down in the dressing room a little while ago, so we'll find out. Tell them to watch your step here.
Hey, sis!
Sorry, it was a little
Just
tough on
stay
you.
away from me. You hit me on my nitroglycerin patch.
Well, you're what?
Just terrible.
Oh, that's awful. Well, I see all those old gnarly stains on your hand from cooking. You know what you can do to get rid of those awful, horrible, gnarly stains on your hand? Just rub a raw potato on them.
Well, you don't say. Will it cure the dams and stains?
No, but it'll get rid of that mold you got
all
and
right.
a couple of warts. But I
Raw
always think
potato.
you get what you deserve. Well, this is Tootsie Cook.
And I'm Sister Cook, and we're the Cook Sisters.
Now, this stuff is supposed to cook for about 45 minutes. And obviously it isn't, but everything's pre-cooked anyway. And I have chopped up some peppers, and I'm going to put those in there at this point. And isn't that just real pretty?
Well, it is.
Now, if it just would cook a little bit, it's just sort of
Well, the
sitting there.
nice thing about both these recipes is that they don't, essentially everything is already cooked and all you do is warming it up.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
that's a big plus.
But look at those thickening up already. That's thickening very beautifully. But, you know, a part of preparing this would be sort of frying the chicken in that roux and, you know, with all that flavor going through and searing it real good. But I think it's going to thicken up real nice just in time for the big doodah day. We're going to have our secret person coming in here momentarily. Hint, hint.
Yes.
Oh, she's on her way.
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
And don't forget now, fix some extra rice. I was going to throw that in there, but I don't believe I'll be throwing that in there. There's no room to throw that in there.
Oh, you could get several spoons.
You think I should put a little? I was just going to put it in, are those bowls what we're going to be serving this in?
I reckon. Yep.
I was just going to put some in the bottom of the bowl. You know, I've seen it done that way in restaurants. In the highfalutin restaurants, you can do that. Well, as you know, the very lovely Miss Doris and Harold are in Paris, France. And so they cannot be with us today, not even by satellite.
No, we couldn't afford the
We couldn't afford the
hookup.
satellite hookup. So we just barely can afford the ones we use on the air. So anyway, we have somebody that you hear a great deal about, and in fact you hear her voice, but you very seldom ever see her. And she is the lady who actually directs our show, actually punches the buttons, the lovely Miss Carol Jennings.
Hello.
How you doing?
Pretty
Now, the
good.
big secret here is we all want to know. We're just, you know, the inquirer wants to know. How can we be directing this show and switching cameras around while you're sitting? Some kind of remote control device on you?
Television magic is what it is.
Actually,
big
I
secret.
understand we have Mr. Betcher in the back.
Yes, our
doing the
Vice
beauty.
President of
And
Programming.
he certainly is keeping us going. It's all right, John. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Keep that in mind. What did you do?
This is something called frog eye salad.
Oh, yeah.
Frog eye salad.
Yes. From Mary Johnson of Madison Heights, Virginia.
Bad enough people are going out and ripping the legs off the poor little things. And
Taking their eyes out.
Well, this has got a very unusual type of macaroni in it that looks sort of like frog eyes. I'll hold this over the bowl camera before I can get this
Oh,
started. on
that's
over
real
here.
attractive.
Yeah. And it starts off, I won't show that, very small macaroni. needless
Actually, I
to
think
say.
it looks more like fish eggs.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys have any idea how to say the name of this macaroni? Because I
Well,
don't have a clue.
let me see.
Well, Mr. Johnson is our resident expert in
That is,
apology.
a chini di pepe.
Okay.
What did you say?
A chini di pepe.
A chini di pepe.
Well,
He used to appear on the Sullivan Show.
He did.
And he used to be a little puppet.
Little
I think.
chihuahua.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sticking that in your eye.
Well, put my eye on
I'm
it.
trying to
Borrow one of your lines.
Oh,
trying to stir and do that
Well,
too.
you want me to hold it?
No, I'm going to cut
Okay.
it off because it's ready.
Okay. Well, this takes a cup of the macaroni, 2 cans of mandarin oranges. It doesn't say what size, so I got the small ones. Half a cup of sugar, 3 eggs beaten, 2 cups of miniature marshmallows, a 20-ounce can of crushed pineapple, 2.5 cups of water, which I cut down, or otherwise this would have been a bowl the size of a swimming pool, 2 tablespoons of flour, and 8 ounces of frozen whipped topping. And what you do is you cook the macaroni and drain it. Drain the fruits, but put the juices in a pan and mix that with the flour and the sugar, and you make it's almost like a custard mixed in there with that.
Just so pretty.
And then after you've got your custard, mix that with the fruit and the macaroni, and put the whipped topping and marshmallows in, and ready to go.
How long did it take you to make this?
We don't want to talk about that. It took 2 tries to get this stuff to thicken up.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did.
So you had to
but,
do it twice.
And finding the ingredients on a holiday weekend, it's a spring holiday, folks, where people eat a lot of marshmallows, oranges, and pineapple. I got the last bag of marshmallows on the shelf.
Now tell me
But
the
anyway.
truth, which side of the cameras would you really rather be on?
That side.
Ah, come on. Isn't she a natural? Let's
No,
give her
not
some
Doris.
applause here. She's wonderful.
So I even have Doris's shirt on here.
Do you really? And poor Doris is running around in Paris, France without a shirt.
No.
Well, it is Paris, you know.
Well, I'm going to get out of your all's way and go back to my post.
Go back there and punch them buttons.
That's right.
Make America
Yes,
safe
she's
for
running
television.
around over there with Harold. God love him. I don't know what's going to happen to him.
Now, I want you to look at this, Mr. Johnson. Am I good or what? I mean, is that beautiful? Isn't that gorgeous?
That is really nice. Really
And
is.
if you slow cook that, I mean, just look at that. It's gotten real thick and creamy. It really
Oh,
has.
that's amazing.
And if you just slow cook that for about 45 minutes, all those flavors would just meld together in there. And what I'm going to do for presentation purposes, now you can just take this and dump it on in there if you want to, but I think it's pretty full. So I'm just going to take some of the rice and put it in the bottom of the bowl, of each bowl, like so. Do-do-do. And then I'm just going to put this in on top of it. This has got to be good for you. I mean, this is wonderful stuff, I think.
Wouldn't you love to know where somebody came up with a recipe called frog eye salad?
Well, someone was just sitting around one day and thought of it, I
And
guess.
didn't have anything else to do.
And there it is. It's real pretty. It's real
Well,
pretty.
let's
Absolutely
go over
pretty.
to the table.
It won't take us 4 minutes to eat it, but what
That-
the heck, we have no choice. So anyway, there's that and that. Now I'm going to take this poodle thing off. I'll be back.
Let me give you some sweet potatoes with some of the sauce in it.
Well, doesn't it look pretty? Although it is right runny and juicy, I think you probably
Yeah.
should have probably taken the thing and drained
And
it.
then
a
how
little
about
bit.
serving me some of the frog eyes?
Would you like a right frog eye or a left frog eye?
The one that doesn't have a cataract
Well,
on
isn't
it,
it
please.
pretty? There you go.
Thank you so much.
Well, that certainly is interesting
Well-
looking. And what is this pasta called?
Piccini di pepe.
Piccini di pepe. Yeah. Never heard of it.
Well,
Well, I'm
we'll
going to
see
try
what
this stuff.
mess is.
What it's referred to it as a mess. Another 45 minutes might have had some flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's pretty good though, don't you think?
Yeah, actually it is. I think, you know, if you cooked your chicken in this stuff, it probably would.
I need a napkin.
Well, could I have one?
You know, paper towel. Well, that's real interesting. Your sweet potato dish. How could it not be?
Well, it's got all
It's
kinds.
got all sorts of good things in it. I wonder why it calls for canned stuff.
I don't know, but you know, now you and I both would use fresh sweet potatoes if we're doing it at home. But sometimes when you don't have the fresh sweet potatoes or something, it's wonderful to be able to open up a can of stuff and do something with it. Well, that's pretty good.
Well, Miss Carol ought to come out from behind the control panel more often and do some cooking for us because she did a mighty fine job. She may have had to do it twice, but she did a beautiful job of that. Isn't that nice? Of course, I know it's enough to send you into a conniption fit.
I won't be
All
eating
that
too
sugar.
much of any of this. But, you know, this is sort of like a rice custard
You're right, it is.
with mandarin oranges.
Well, it's a penny for your thought. Whatever, penny, whatever. Well,
Let me try some of this.
oh, you must be kidding.
How much time
We
have
couldn't
got left?
possibly have one more minute.
Oh, but we do.
Well, tell me a story, Johnson.
Well, I'll tell you a story. Now, I can't. What'd you cook for your big Easter dinner at your house this year?
Well, I did German potato salad. Makes no sense whatsoever, but it was real good, and I cooked out on the grill for the first time. It was a wonderful day, beautiful day. I didn't cook potato salad on the grill. Who brought these flowers, by the way? These
Doris.
What are those, little snapdragons?
She brought them last
Are those
week.
snapdragons?
I think it's called a pocketbook plant, but
Oh,
I'm not sure.
pocketbook plant.
Well, I had a pork tenderloin.
Well, good for you.
It was delicious.
I'm real happy
You know,
for
you
you.
can eat that. with heart trouble. The tenderloin,
Ah.
very little fat.
Well, hey, listen, it's just been so much fun. Bye.
Find out more about Cookin' Cheap by visiting our website at cookincheap.com. For a set of this season's recipes, send $4.95 plus $2.50